Welcome, welcome. How's everybody doing? Let's see. Alright, hopefully that's better. Another day in the market. Hope you're all doing well. Final stream of the week as well. That just rhymed. But yeah, stocks selling off a little bit more today. I mean, the Nasdaq and the S&P did close a little bit green, but they were red during most of the day. And then apart from that, you had the ARK down almost 2%. The Russell 2000 was down over 1%. So kind of just like another day, but roughly the same thing. Not been the best week, for everything. But apart from that, Bitcoin has been bouncing up. It actually closed back above the 200-day moving average. It's just kind of going above, going below. But if you remember last night on stream, we actually talked about this. We talked about this little downsloping channel or wedge. And that actually ended up getting a breakout, and it's actually been showing some fall through price action since. So yeah, not too bad right now for Bitcoin. Other altcoins doing well. Right now the NU crypto trade is up about 32%, and then the FIL crypto trade is currently up around 27%. So that's really it for the crypto trades. Not too much else to talk about in that world, but for the stock market, futures are slightly green right now, relatively just flat for the most part. And yeah, let's look at the overall market from the day. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you didn't already. So the S&P gapped down today, and then it bounced up to pretty much fill the gap, go a little bit higher, and then it pulled back towards, I think, like the final. Let me go back over to the 1 hour. Yeah, pulled back in like the final hour of the day a little bit, but yeah, pretty much gapped down to about 30 or 43.68, and then it ran all the way up to around 44.18, and then pulled back to close at 44.05 on the day. So a little bit of a volatile day for the market. That's really it for the S&P. I mean, from a technical standpoint, not much changed. You still kind of have that triple classic bearish divergence on the daily. The trend is still very, very bullish. You're still making, for now, higher lows. And then also, I saw somebody else put this out on Twitter, but it's actually really interesting. We look at the 50-day moving average. So let me just take out the other two. So if we look at the 50-day moving average for the S&P 500, it's actually been acting as support very, very nicely all year. And I actually haven't noticed this yet, but you could see it acted as support on January 29th. It was your support on March 25th. It was your support in the beginning of May. This orange kind of curved up sloping line is what I'm looking at. It was your support around the end of June, and it was your support on July 19th. So I don't know, if we do continue this pullback for the S&P, I definitely think that you would want to stay above the 200-day moving average, which has been support pretty much for almost the whole entire year, except for one little fake out in the beginning of March when it just wanted to tap the bottom of this ascending broadening wedge. So throw the 50-day moving average on your S&P 500 chart and just look for it to continue holding that. If it breaks it, I would probably think that would be time to really start taking some caution. And then obviously keep up with everything going on with the news. They're going to be talking about tapering. They're going to be talking about the housing market. They're going to be talking about Delta variant. Just keep an eye on all of that. All of those things can affect the market, and I'm sure are currently getting priced into the market. So yeah. That's really it for the S&P 500. Let me take the 50-day moving average off my chart. Right there. So for the Russell 2000, for everybody here who trades small caps, this has been pretty much one of the worst performing indices in the last month and a half, or almost 2 months at this point. If we go over to the monthly chart, I think we're down about 7% since July 1st. So not good for small caps, which is not surprising by any means. And now you actually closed under the 200-day moving average on the Russell 2000 for the first time since September 23rd of last year. Since September 23rd, can't talk. Since that day last year, you have never closed above the 200-day moving average on the Russell 2000 until today. So keep that in mind. You already broke this demand line like we talked about earlier in the week. So your next support for the Russell 2000 is pretty much around 209 from your lows in July. I mean, of course, it can bounce tomorrow, maybe retest the 200-day moving average, but that's about it. So another gap down there for the Russell. The Nasdaq kind of rolling over a little bit. If you just look at it like this, that's probably the easiest way to look at it. A little bit of like a rounding top action going on. The major support on the Nasdaq is 14,180. As long as it continues to hold that, I'm still bullish on the NASDAQ, but of course it does have room to back test that. And then finally, for the ARK ETF, lowest close for the ARK ETF since, I believe, June 9th of this year. So I think that's actually the day that Clover was at all-time highs. June 9th, let's see. Yeah, so the last time that the ARK closed this low, Clover was at all-time highs. Now Clover is much closer to all-time lows and all-time highs, so very different situation right now. But yeah, I mean, for the ARK, your closest support is just your low from July 19th at 113.27, so hope for that to hold tomorrow and watch that level tomorrow. And that's really about it. I would really like to see the ARK get back above 115. I'm sure Michael Burry is pretty happy with his puts as of right now. So yeah, we'll see how all of that goes. Apart from that, we talked about the dollar breaking out yesterday of this cup and handle with hidden bullish divergence. There is now a confirmed breakout for the US dollar on the daily and on the 4 hours. So the cup and handle inside the cup and handle has indeed broken out. And we'll see how that affects the market as well. And then finally, the VIX, the volatility index. A lot of people are looking at this as a falling wedge. I was seeing it kind of everywhere today. So if you want to look at it like that, depends on how you chart it. But if you chart it like this, then you kind of did break out yesterday and then you kind of back tested today. So it just depends on what you're looking at it for. I mean, for me, I don't really look at it. I don't try and chart patterns and stuff on the VIX that much. I just watch the levels, and above 20 is historically where I get a little bit more concerned. So I would like for it to fall back under 19.63, but we'll see. And that's really it for the overall market. Just trying to give you some technicals because all those things will affect the stocks that you're trading at the end of the day, or most of them, not all of them, obviously. But yeah, futures actually bouncing up a little bit right now, which is nice. We'll see if they can hold overnight. Let's see what's up in the chat. Keep hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button if you didn't already. What else? What's up, Santa in the chat? What's up, Zeke for Bleak? Co-creator. Santa says usually the 50 SMA is one of the weakest ones, right? This is unusually epic. Yeah, I don't actually use the 50 moving average that much. Usually I either use, like for longer term outlooks, I use just the 200-day moving average. And for short term outlooks, I use like the 5-day, the 10-day, and the 20-day. So yeah, I rarely use the 50-day. I just saw it on Twitter and it's actually been working very well as support this year for the S&P 500. So yeah, we got some dragon emojis in the chat. Dragon not really doing much. Didn't really work with everything that happened in the market today. So yeah, let's go. Jim Larson. So last night on stream, Jim Larson, let me just confirm this 1 second. Yeah, last night on stream, Jim Larson also sent another 10, and it was like right when I was ending the stream, so there wasn't that many people in here. So between like late last night and the tip right now, Jim Larson tipped $20. So let's get some vibes in the chat for Jim Larson. Appreciate all the tips this week and all the support despite the weird market. But at the end of the day, and I've always talked about this, it's never about the trades. It's never about how one ticker is doing or however many tickers are doing. The main point of everything I try and do is just educate, right? All the other stuff is just kind of like additional. But the main focus that kind of everything else revolves around is just technical analysis, education, risk management, market psychology, and all those other things I bring up on the stream. So I appreciate all the support. Hopefully you've been learning if you've been watching the streams. And always remember there is the free course on my channel under playlists if you ever get confused about some of the terms that I bring up and stuff like that. But yeah, vibes in the chat for Jim. Haven't seen any chats from Jim right now, but he did message thank you go CLOV as the tip donation, so appreciate it very much. Zeke for Bleak says, what charting platform do you use? I use TradingView. And Dan says, you don't actually stay in the VIX, right? You just pop into ride the volatility in the market and then now out, right? Not exactly sure what you mean by that. I personally, I don't even think you can trade the VIX. You can trade like pairs of it, like the UVXY. There's a couple others, but I don't think the VIX is like tradable, like the SPX, right? They're just kind of indices. They're not really tradable ETFs or whatever, but it's just like kind of the chart I use to look at the volatility index. But there's many others that are very similar and just track it and are heavily correlated with the VIX. So Yeah, all right, that's what you meant. All right, perfect. So let's talk about Clover now for a second here. A lot to talk about. First off, Clover. Did mention this in the Discord and on Twitter, and I have been sharing this on stream. I've not really been talking about like the swing trade idea that much. If you've been watching the Clover streams last week and this week, I've not really been talking about like the swing trade and stuff. Mainly my focus has been around like a longer term outlook and just how I feel about this stock and the technicals and everything like that. But I did also put out a swing trade a couple of weeks ago. And again, if you're confused about what I did, I always put out swing trades. That's what I do. I'm a swing trader. So I know there's some people who don't really understand it. There's a lot of people who are just in Clover cost averaging for the long term. And that's what I've been talking about it mainly in that perspective, but also I have been looking at it as a potential swing. However, unfortunately, with the market selling off, or small caps and mid caps selling off as they are, and then with the lack of volume in Clover and just the negative price action, the swing trade did fail. So I wanted to bring that up before I clear all these boxes off my chart. Yeah, it didn't work out. You know, I tweeted out as well earlier, just because the swing trade stopped out doesn't mean I have any different perspective on this long term. It was just straightforward, a very straightforward trade. As for all my trades, if they stop out, I don't shy away from it. I bring it up, I learn from it, and that's just a part of trading, right? So yeah, it didn't work out. Can't be surprised. You know, obviously I was hoping for a lot better in the short term, but you just never really got any volume or price action like I was really heavily focusing on last night on the stream. And then you kind of combine that with how the market's been acting, and just not great. So, you know, if we just take this apart from the chart, because now that's all over. And why does this keep doing that? All right, there we go. So just looking at the actual chart right now for Clover, today was really interesting. I put out a tweet earlier about, if you guys remember, a couple nights ago I was talking about Wyckoff accumulation, and I shared one specific tweet. So let me pull that up really quickly. Let's see. All right. So what's the best way to do this? Right there. Okay. Should have done this a little bit differently, but whatever. All right, so we take a look right over here. We were talking about this a couple nights ago, the Wyckoff accumulation idea on Clover, and I kind of just used like the feature on TradingView, the new feature on TradingView where you can paste an image over your chart, and tried my best to line it up. Again, like I said earlier, Wyckoff doesn't have to be perfectly lined up. It's just you're looking for the specific types of variables, like the sign of strength or the backup or the spring, or all these different things like the automatic rally, all these like little things that are kind of in what's the word for like abbreviated? Yeah, they're all kind of like abbreviated. So if you notice over here in part of Wyckoff accumulation, you have in phase C something known as a spring. Now, I was thinking, you know, potentially, and again, this is only potentially, maybe with how the market brought down Clover today and whatever else brought down Clover today, bag holders cutting losses or shorts or whatever it is, you know, the prices did go down. So in Wyckoff accumulation, you have something known as a spring. Now, we look at this, springs are pretty much below like the support that you have, and this kind of is where the composite operator, the imaginary figure controlling the markets and trying to manipulate stocks to, you know, steal money from everybody else and just make a crap load of money when the stock ends up going up. It's pretty much known as like the place where you get the shakeout, where the weak hands kind of give up their shares to the bigger money, accumulating shares at lower prices, right? So, you know, that's one way to be looking at what happened today, is it could be a potential spring. However, there's no way to confirm a spring until you get the bounce, right? So just because we're looking at this as a potential spring does not mean it is one for sure. You can only technically confirm a spring after you bounce back up off of that. So it's really, and again, I cannot tell the future. It's just really in the place where it's like, either this could be the spring, which could potentially be where the composite operator, the imaginary figure, is trying to take shares from weak hands, and or this could actually be a just legitimate breakout or breakdown of that support that we've been talking about for weeks now. So I can't tell you which one it is. You know, as much as I've learned technical analysis, there's one thing technicals can't do, which is tell you the exact future. They can't do that. They give you certain variables, they give you probability, but they don't foretell the future. So the future, which could be tomorrow, the day after, but definitely in the short term, you would want to see Clover bounce so that this could become a spring action. Otherwise, it could be a legitimate breakdown, and then you'd be looking for your next supports on Clover from a technical standpoint. So just to reiterate, so nobody gets confused, yes, the swing trade idea did not work out, but from a technical standpoint, not much has changed, except for obviously the price action, and then obviously from a fundamental standpoint, I have no other different views on Clover. I still love it fundamentally, but yeah, I just want to bring up everything that happened today. I wasn't happy about it. I'm sure many other people weren't happy about it, but the future is out of my hands. Where this stock moves every day is out of my hands. I'm just trying to do my best to identify certain variables and manage my risk, and hopefully once things eventually get going, make money. So the question is really up to you. What's your outlook for Clover? If it's a short-term outlook, you never know. I think you are oversold on the lower time frames, not yet on the higher time frames. So going into tomorrow on Clover, it's all about reclaiming $7.70 and holding above that. Okay. As you can clearly see, where you closed today on Clover was the lowest close you've had since the all-time high. So since your all-time high on June 9th, you've never closed at 756. And for the most part, you've been finding support around this upper $7 area, right? $8 to $7.85 has been your bounce area for the last few weeks. Well, you broke that today. Today was your first close under 7. Well, yeah, it was your first close. Let me see what's the lowest close prior to this. I think your previous lowest close was 792. So definitely your lowest close and your lowest level since July 19th. So it's the question of whether you're long-term or short-term, what it is. The way I've been thinking about it, it's like, I feel like some like people who got into Clover for short-term perspectives ended up becoming long-term investors, right? There's a lot of people who got in Clover and who were FOMOing into Clover up over here. According to Weeble's data, the average cost of shares on their platform is $17. I think it might have dropped, but I don't know. So it was around 17. So I think there could have been a lot of people who were chasing this rip up over here that are now, turned from short-term investors trying to catch a pop into long-term investors. On the flip side, I do also feel like there's long-term investors who got into Clover fundamentally who have short-term outlooks, right? Does that make sense? Because I feel like there's a lot of people who love this company long-term, but are so focused around it squeezing tomorrow or it's squeezing next week. So it's like a really interesting flow. All I'm trying to do is just read the psychology of everything going on, right? So it's just really, really interesting to see how, you have certain technicals and fundamentals and catalysts, but the price hasn't really reacted yet. And obviously the main concern for that is volume, and you need float rotation. But I'm just trying to share my thoughts, and don't take anything I'm saying the wrong way. I'm not trying to hate on anybody. I'm just trying to throw my different perspectives out there. I do want this stock to go up. But at the end of the day, I always try and speak as open as possible. So hopefully that all kind of made sense. I don't know if I messed up my wording there, but I was just trying to, throw out different ideas, and we'll see what tomorrow brings for Clover. Obviously, we'll take a look at the options chain right now. Right over here. So yeah, if you're a long-term investor, I'll be completely honest, this is not financial advice, but I do genuinely believe that Clover will reach new all-time highs at some point in the future again. I don't think it's never going to get back up to 28. I think eventually it will. Do I know when? Obviously not. If you're in on Clover for the short term, then it's really up to you on whether you think that today was a breakdown to the downside, or if you think today could be a fake out. And that's not something I can help you out with, unfortunately. So I'm just trying to give you all the different variables and let you make whatever decision you want to. That's really about it. So if we take a look over here, going into tomorrow for Clover, the options chain is still, I believe, really crazy. So if we go to the 820 expirations, definitely has decreased since the beginning of the week, I believe, but you still have a lot of calls that could expire out of the money. I don't think that's going to affect the stock price that much, but just interesting. This is a lot of money that's still in calls for tomorrow, and a lot of people could lose money unless somehow something crazy happens tomorrow, right? Because even now the $8 calls are out of the money. Every single day up until now, they've been in the money at the close, and today they're now out of the money. So it's really interesting to see what will happen tomorrow. I mean, honestly, if you're using probability, your volume is still dry. You still have a long way to go to reclaim other levels. Probability of going to the moon tomorrow is pretty low. Is it possible? Yeah, because of the options train. If you do get some sort of volume, you could go even higher. But again, like I always say, it doesn't matter what your option chain is. It doesn't matter what your short interest is. Buyers always need to be the first step. Volume needs to come in before you get any type of squeeze, and the volume is still yet to be there. And there's really no way to know if it's going to come and when it's going to come. I mean, I think it'll come eventually, but there's no way to know when that'll be. And yeah, final point. We'll see what happens tomorrow, but again, you know, patience, and you do whatever you want. Nothing I'm saying is financial advice. I'm just talking about whatever's on my mind. All right, so hopefully that was informative. Let me see what's in the chat right now. I'm sure there's been a lot of messages. Got my tea right now. Wearing the FTM hat as per usual and rocking the FTM mug. If anybody's new here, that means free trading movement. If you're not on the Discord, the link's in the description. Keep hitting that like button. Let's get to 40 likes right now. All right, let me take a look at the chat for a few minutes here. Let's see how everybody's doing. What's up, Mert, in the chat? Mert, are you going to be on Tar Heels stream tomorrow? Is that what I heard? Or am I mistaken? Sith says, no one can predict the future. We're going to see it bounce one way or the other. Yeah, I think eventually it'll bounce. Just a question of when, you know? We're not doing ticker requests just yet. Just kind of covering everything from today. Co-creator says, at what point do we think the Clover play is dead? Time to take losses and move on. Like I said earlier, that's completely up to you, right? The swing trade did fail. From a long-term investment perspective, I do personally believe Clover will be at much higher prices one day, but I cannot tell you what day that'll be. So can it go lower before going higher? Of course it can. Do I think it'll eventually go higher? Yeah. So it depends on your outlook. It depends on your risk tolerance. And that's why I cannot give everybody the same answer. It depends on so many different things about what your situation is, right? Yeah, no, I know you're just asking a legit question, co-creator. I'm never one who's gonna like, if somebody has a different opinion than me, I'm never gonna like, you know, ban them or anything like that. I'm always open for however anybody feels. I try and keep the whole entire stream a very open like space. If I'm bullish on something and you're bearish on something, I don't care. That's fine. You know, it's the stock market. Everybody's gonna have different opinions, and I'm completely open to whatever. I never take offense about anything. And again, like I know, like you said, I know you're not trying to spread FUD. I get what you're saying. Okay. Now I'm digressing. What else? I missed a lot of chats. Wow. Appreciate all the likes. Everyone needs to look at the weekly. Yeah, I actually tweeted out the weekly, I think last Friday at the close, where for 4 weeks in a row, you had very, very interesting kind of like mini doji candles, but slightly trending higher. If the week does close like this tomorrow on Clover, it will be a weekly bearish engulfing candle. And I think there's another word for it. It's like a, let me see if I can find it. When you previously bearishly engulfed the 3 previous candles, it's called like a three, let me see. Is it a 3-line strike? Let me see. No, that's not a 3-line strike. Bearish 3-line strike. I can't find it, but yeah, I think it might be that. I don't know. And great, I just closed out my chat. All right, hopefully everything is still good. All right, I think we're good. But yeah, let's see what else I missed in the chat. There's just so much in the chat that I'm just trying to read it. Like I could kind of say every message, but it would take me hours. Like you guys were all kind of chatting away while I was ranting right there. But yeah, I know this is extremely boring right now. It's just I'm trying to process everything that's in the chat right now. Based on Wyckoff, do you see 650 to 7 leg prices right before previous squeeze? If you're talking about these, actually back over here, and again, if you want to fact check me, feel free to go back to those streams, but right over here in this area, I was talking about how this also looked like Wyckoff accumulation to me. Back in, I think it was like May, I believe so. I can't remember exactly, but I was talking about on stream how this kind of looked Wycoffian to me. Didn't really look like a perfect schematic, but you could kind of see it like you were kind of having a spring, you up thrusted over here, and it just looked like some sort of accumulation. Again, it's not necessarily only about the phases, it's also about the types of pivots you have within your phases, how you bounce off supports or have fake outs under supports, and all those types of things are what can make Wyckoff ideas, right? Not just the schematics. Still a lot more in the chat to read. I might be here for a minute, but we'll see. I am skipping a lot of messages. I'm sorry. It's just we still have so much more to cover. Tar Heel in the chat says, "What's up, everybody? Fam, forgot to say hi to you on the stream today. Champion Vibe. Have a good show. Appreciate it, Tar Heel. I'll be watching your stream tomorrow." Oh wait, Sith is the one who got the tattoo? No way. I was watching that as well. Hope you're hanging in there well with the location you chose to get your tattoo, Sith. Yo-Yo says, "Does anyone think AMC can touch 37 tomorrow?" We can talk about AMC in a second here. I usually do like to bring it up. Also got crushed today. A lot of meme stocks, mid caps, small caps, yet again. All right, so I'm sorry for the last 5 minutes being extremely boring. I was just trying to digest everything that was in the chat. So I think I understood most of it. And yeah, we still have so much more to talk about. This is the final stream of the week. Just another reminder, there is the workshop taking place on Saturday in the premium channel. The link for that's in the description. Again, I don't ever talk about premium unless there's a reason for me to do so. Like if I'm recapping a trade or if there's some sort of a sale or an event going on. So if you do, or if you are interested in that, link for that's in the description. It'll probably be like, I mean, it could be however long. I was thinking like 45 minutes, but however long everybody wants to talk is whatever. I mean, whatever's fine with me. But I'll just kind of be talking about day trading and risk management and options, because especially in how this market has been lately, it's just not been the best for swing trades. So most of my personal trades have just been day trades or very, very short-term trades, like 2 or 3 day type of swings. So I definitely want to give a little bit more education on like day trading, which is like, you know, some of the methods I share when I'm putting out plays in those channels. But yeah, I mean, obviously I used to do classes and stuff. I don't have time to do classes anymore. I think I ran like 40, 50, around like 50 classes within like 2 months earlier this year. So that's 50 hours or whatever. And I was all trying while doing school and streaming and stuff. So typically, like in the future, if I'm going to do anything like that, it's probably just going to be like workshops and stuff. I don't only want to do it in premium. I'm just doing the first one in premium because I kind of want it to be private. I want it to be like very open, but I will be doing like workshops with the whole entire Discord in the future for sure. This is not going to be like a premium only thing. Education is for everybody. Just like the first time, I want it to be a little bit of like a closer discussion. And also, I definitely need some experience with like teaching like in groups, because I've done one-on-one calls and I also stream, but I've never really done like group settings. But yeah, that'll be on Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. EST. If you want to join premium, the link's in the description. Obviously, you'll be in the workshop, and then also you'll get a month of swing ideas and weekly watch lists and options ideas and day trades and whatnot. Just gonna bring it up one time. That's the final reminder. And let me see what else I missed in the chat. It's not following 3 methods, Medi. The candle pattern I was talking about on the weekly, unless there was a bearish engulfing candle on the first one. No, there wasn't. So following 3 methods would kind of be like if this this first red candle was a little bit lower, right? And then you'd actually, I think there's only 3 candles you need on the inside of that. It's not 3 right soldiers either. 3 right soldiers is when you get kind of like this, except a little bit more parallel or equal. It's like 3 nice green large bodied candles in a row. What else? Thomas says, dumb question, is there a way to trade volatility? If you're talking about the volatility index or the VIX, yeah, you can trade with the UVXY. That's like the ETF you can trade through. There's a bunch of other ones that track the VIX. If you just mean, is there any way to trade volatility like a volatile market? Of course. Volatility can create really, really good trades. A lot of the times you want volatility to get bigger moves on your trades. But you got to be on the right side of the trade, obviously. But yeah, I mean, if you are looking to trade like the volatility index pair, the UVXY, just keep in mind historically, all this thing does is go down. So just keep that in mind. All it really does is go down. That's the monthly chart, you can see. But in the short term, like if the market does have a pullback or whatever, like you can see over here. Let's see what this did during the COVID crash. Yeah, you can see like right over here. So during the COVID crash, I mean, this thing went from 100 to 1300. So it did a 13x or whatever during the COVID crash. But then, you know, every time the market, even if the market's like flat, I think this usually also goes down. It's only when the market's kind of being like super hectic to the downside and stuff is when this goes up. Otherwise, it's like you could see what it pretty much has done. So even like when you try and trade it, I believe they give you some sort of like a disclaimer. Like the first time I traded the UVXY, I got like 3 emails from ProShares or whatever from my brokerage saying like, yo, be careful. So keep that in mind. Metalman says, champ, you need someone that'll pick informative questions out of chat for you. I want to kind of get the, I know we have the chat on the side, like actually right under me. That's where like the chat is. But there's also like a lot of other widgets where I can like pop up like one chat onto the screen, like kind of how Tar Heel does on his stream. And if anybody's seen True Trading Group's streams, they do the same thing. But for the most part, I'm usually good with reading most of the chat. It's just sometimes you all get very excited and it's a little bit too much. But I always appreciate, you know, when the chat's really active. It makes it a lot more entertaining for me to stream. So yeah, I think that's the majority of the chat. I think I was looking at the AMC chart before. I had some other stuff to talk about. Somebody asked if I think AMC can go to 37 tomorrow. Let's see. On the 1 hour chart, you have some hidden bullish divergence, which means you made a higher low from this low over here to wherever this low could be. Maybe it becomes a lower low eventually, and then it'll invalidate this while making a lower level of negative momentum on your 1 hour MACD. So, I mean, there is that. You also did double bottom off of 30 in the last few weeks. And let's see what Fibonacci retrace you're currently at from your previous low to your high. You're close to you're pretty much within the golden zone. So it could be at a potential reversal area for an intraday move tomorrow, but obviously depends on the overall market. Even on the 30-minute, you have some divergence there if you include that little MAC down. So it looks all right. I mean, I don't really see much of a pattern going into tomorrow for AMC if we look at it from like an intraday standpoint. But I'm a lot more focused on AMC on like the daily. Like we were talking about this earlier in the week, where on the daily it broke out of this descending broadening wedge with major hidden bullish divergence on the daily. The last time it had hidden bullish divergence on the daily was down over here at $5. I did talk about it on stream non-stop for that whole entire week. Right over here when the MACD was waning back towards green, and obviously it went to 70 after, but we'll see. It did kind of reject 38.70 for 2 days in a row though, on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then today it kind of followed through to the downside with the market. Metalman says, what program are you using for your charts? I'm currently using TradingView. I don't even know if my referral link is in the description. I should probably put it there. It's not in the description. It's on the website though, but it's all good. What else? Cheddarfree says VIX hit 24 pre-market but rejected at the weekly wedge supply. Yeah, we were looking at that wedge I think earlier. Yeah, it's always a little bit frothy when the VIX gets over 20. So, and then the way you have it is you're back testing the falling wedge supply line. Maybe you have it like a bit, I don't know, like this maybe. Yeah, I mean, regardless, I definitely think whichever way you kind of look at it, it already broke out, but it still needs to get above 38.70 for a continuation. And then there's major supports like 30 on AMC. So yeah, let's talk about Fisker next, which was also, I mean, Clover was down 6%, AMC was down 7%, Fisker was down 7%. And we talked about this yesterday, how 1455, it was trying to break over it during the day yesterday, but then the market pulled back in like the final half an hour of the day and it closed under it. And then coming into today, I was saying last night that unless it can get above it, I mean, there could be room back down to 12. You know, I've been talking about this potential bullish Gartley that could form, and it's getting really, really close to the pattern completion zone. So you made a not really a perfect, but actually if you go to this over here, you did make a perfect 61% retrace. And then if you go up to this high, that's within the range. And then your 786. Somebody in the Discord is asking me to do it like perfectly. Last night I kind of just like drew it really quickly, which is what I usually do when I'm charting harmonics on the stream. But if we chart it perfectly, let's see where the exact 786 would be. All right. I actually have it at about, yeah, 1197, and it looks like I touched all the wicks. Oh, but if you look at it like this, then it's not. Like if you look at it like that, then well, it's actually the same thing because it's from X to D, so I'm not too sure. But roughly, again, it's a zone, right? So you might be charting it one way, I'm charting it another way. I mean, I feel like I hit all the wicks perfectly, so that's pretty weird, but around that $12 area. And again, what I care about more than a harmonic PCZ is the historical level, and 12 is that historical level. So it's all about just reversing around 12. That's what I'm mainly looking for on Fisker, assuming it drops another dollar, which it might not. Maybe just randomly reverses tomorrow, you never know. But still, in between 12 and 1455 is kind of, you know, one of the openest areas of the chart, or like an area where you don't spend much time, you know, historically. Straight down, straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down, straight up. So historically, you kind of, if you break under one, you go to the next one. If you break above one, you go to the next one. We'll see if that pattern continues or not for Fisker. Hopefully can start doing a little bit better. I mean, pretty rough sell-off ever since the offering news up at 19, and it was looking ready to go after all the stuff that happened with, I think, Morgan Stanley. We had a swing trade on it. It was 3% away from the target, and then fortunately one time from like all the swings we've done on Fisker, one time some sort of a bad catalyst came out. All the other times we had perfectly good catalysts like lined up with the trades, and even this one we had a good catalyst, which was the whole entire Morgan Stanley stuff, which helped push up the trade near the target, and then it was like nope. But it is what it is. We're not doing ticker requests just yet. All right, so let me just quickly go over the rest of the ongoing trades, and then I'll look at the chat again, and then we'll do ticker requests. But yeah, keep hitting that like button. Let's get to 50 likes right now. This is the final stream of the week. And if you're not subscribed to the stream, help us get to 3,100 subscribers by hitting that subscribe button. Also, if your notification bell is off, make sure to turn that on. Even if you're already subscribed, make sure to turn that on so you can get alerted every time I go live. Unless you're in the Discord, then I probably spam you enough there for you to know when I'm live. So yeah, the X trade, just like Fisker, yesterday morning it was breaking out, and then in the afternoon the market pulled back, or in the last half an hour of the day the market pulled back, and it never confirmed the breakout on the daily. And then today again with the gap down, it followed the market. So it's really just the market messing with a lot of these trades right now, which is why I always cover the market in the beginning of the stream. You have to be aware of what's going on there, because that'll affect, you know, most of the things you're trading. So now the X trade is only up 8%. Yesterday was up, at one point it was up 21% since the entry. So yeah, I mean, it's been a little bit unfortunate. There's been a lot of trades going up like 15 to 20% since the entry, and then some sort of thing happens to the market, or some sort of bad catalyst comes out. So I'm probably going to start putting like an additional target on some of the swing ideas. That's like a 10% target or something, because like most of the trades are going up like 10% since the entry before getting stopped out. Like for an example, the CLOV trade. The CLOV trade was up like 20-something% last week when it was at $10 on Thursday pre-market, and then went all the way back down. So, you know, for this market, I might have to start putting some more conservative targets. Obviously, should have done that a little bit earlier, but can't tell the future. So, just a little, you know, for the weekly sheet and all the swings, it's just like the probabilities are there. We're getting the bounces on a lot of these swings, but we're not getting the type of movements all the way up to the targets. There's just not enough steam in mid caps and small caps for those types of moves for right now. So it's been tough looking at all of these swings, you know, having nice pops, going up 10, 15, 20%, getting a few percent away from the target. And then, like I said, just something stupid happens and goes all the way back down to the entry and sometimes all the way to the stop. It's, you know, that's just how it is sometimes, I guess. But trust me, it's just as frustrating for me as I'm sure it is for all of you. So it is what it is. That's why you always gotta kind of learn your own way, learn your own style of where to take profits, scaling in, scaling out, all those type of things. Blackberry trade pretty much close around that important historical level. I mean, this 960 area, it was your high over here, resistance, support, resistance, support. Like historically, it's such an important area, and you kind of tested it today, close right around it. Again, just the market doing this thing. Hopefully it can close above that tomorrow. The RES trade also failed today. Again, there's just not much you can do when the ARK is down like 13% in the last month and a half, and the Russell is down like 7% in that period. It's just not the best environment for that, which is why I've been saying like nonstop, like, you know, if I'm seeing probabilities, I'll try and put ideas out there, but you always gotta, you know when to put your foot on the pedal and when to kind of ease off a little bit. And that's not something I can tell you to do. I'm not a financial advisor. So yeah, apart from that, Doc still right at the entry, hasn't moved. I mean, I wish there was more vibes for all of these. That's just what's happening right now. That's just how it is sometimes, right? Can't always just be euphoria and targets hit. Last month has just not been the best time for swings. That's just how it is. So day trades have my heart for right now. That's where I'm placing most of my focus on. And yeah. All right, now let me read this chat, see how much I missed, and we'll do take requests after I'm done reading this chat. All right. One second. Let me just clear this up, because I'm gonna forget to do it tomorrow. Anything else that I missed? All right, I like keeping my watch just like organized. Futures, even futures just got hit. So futures were like okay, they were a little bit green like half an hour ago, and now they're pulling back. S&P futures down 0.25%. Russell futures down 0.37%. Nasdaq futures are still relatively flat. We'll see what happens overnight. Alright, where did I leave off in the chat? Finally feeling like August, yep. This week really did feel like August. First 2 weeks were, again, not the best for swings, but really, really good for day trades. This week has been a little bit tougher on day trades as well. It was like kind of everything. I mean, yeah, it's probably my worst week in, I don't know how long. You're a golfer, you're not a golfer, Dan says, are you using actual stops or mental stops? That's up to you. The way I've kind of learned from people smarter than me is if you have a good control over your emotions, mental stops can be better suited for you, because then it's harder for you to get stop hunted. However, if you do not have a good control of your emotions and you do not have the ability to cut losses when you should be, actual stops could be better for you, because you know, some people, instead of cutting their losses at 10%, find themselves down 40%. And again, as the long-term investor, there obviously is dollar cost averaging and all that stuff, but as a swing trader, most swing traders use literal stops. You know, if your trader's a loser, cut the losses. That's how most swing traders kind of go about it. I'm not telling you that's how you have to do it, but yeah. Personally though, I do mainly use mental stops. The only times I'll use physical stops is if like I'm in a lot of trades at the same time and I just don't have like how do I put it? Like if I'm in like, typically I'm never in more than like 4 trades at a time, but if somehow I'm in like 7 or 8 trades at a time, then I'll just use physical stops so that I don't forget about one of them or whatever it is. But also another thing I do is wait for 4-hour and daily candle closes for confirmation. If you're in the Discord, then you know pretty well about that. Am I lagging right now? I'm getting so many different warnings on my stream page. Stream's current bitrate is lower than the recommended bitrate. I don't know. And then viewers also just dropped like a lot. Unless I'm just being really boring right now. Yo-Yo says, I'm just hoping to break out on my AMC. My average is 36.69. I didn't even want to buy it. I was messing around and seeing how many shares I could buy and accidentally swiped up on Robinhood. That's tough. I'm sorry to hear about that. Yeah, I'm hoping that it goes back up for you. In my opinion, 30 is just a level you really, really want to hold, but it depends on your risk tolerance. You had no day trades and you had to hold overnight. That sucks. All right, so that's pretty much a recap from the day. We'll do take requests for 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is. So if you want me to take a look at a taker for you, drop the taker in the chat. Don't request anything that was up over 30% today. Don't request anything that IPO within the last month. And nothing I say is financial advice. To all the new premium members that just signed up, thank you. Appreciate all the support from everybody. Wow. So that's a pretty good sign up number from this stream. So hopefully you all enjoy the workshop this Saturday for the new members that just joined. And I hope to see you there. All right, so we got a few takers. We can start looking at them. Wish. TLRY, CYCC. Also, today is the anniversary of premium. I think it's the 5 or 6 month. I can't remember. I think it's the 5 though. All right, so Wish, TLRY, CYCC, CLF. Yo-Yo says thanks. Glad I found you and subbed. Glad to hear that. I try my best. I know sometimes things can be a little bit dry in the stream. That's just how the technicals and charts are, but I try my best to not be so boring all the time. Honestly, it could be, especially on like nights like tonight, I could definitely be a lot more energetic, but you know, I don't like faking my energy. Sometimes I have more energy, sometimes I don't, so I just keep it real. But yeah, we'll start off with these. Wish closed at an all-time low today. Anytime that a stock closes at an all-time low, you have one problem. Where's the next support? Right? You do not have any historical support to look left at. Right? If I look left on the chart, there's just an empty void of no candles. So just keep that in mind. Whenever stock's at an all-time low, you have no support, vice versa. If stock's at an all-time high, you have no horizontal resistance. On the other flip side, when a stock is at an all-time low, it technically, from a valuation standpoint, could be the best deal you've ever gotten for that stock. But again, what if it goes lower? So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Same thing for a stock that hits all-time highs. There's no resistance left, but you technically are paying at the highest area compared to if any other time you bought in before, you'd be getting in at a better price if something's at all-time high. So both directions, they're a double-edged sword. Just keep all those things in mind when you're trading. So looking at this chart, 750 was your previous all-time low. In my opinion, I don't like it under 750 as a swing trade. As a long-term investment, if you like it at this stock price, if you think it'll be at a much higher price, again, that's completely up to you. Just always keep in mind. And I like saying this for stocks like CLOV and Wish because I know a lot of people mainly look at those as like longer-term cost averaging type of plays. But I'm, for this stream, always just looking at things in the eyes of a swing trader, right? Not an investor, a trader. That's just kind of the purpose of the stream. That's what I mainly teach. So I don't like it as a swing trade under 750. If it can reclaim 750, then it does have a gap fill up to 934, but also I don't see any sort of patterns or divergence. So it's just not enough data in its current price range for me to get any sort of an edge off of. So I would just personally move on in terms of a trade. I'm not saying it can't go up, it easily can. It's oversold on the daily. The last time it was oversold, it went from 750 to 15. So yeah, that's a good signal, but that's really it. So I'd wait for a little bit. Maybe even like a double bottom could help out, or just something more on the chart, right? But we'll see what happens. I hope it goes back up for the sake of everybody. You know, on social media and everything, that was a very, very crowded trade. TLRY is up next. It's testing the same lows from July 27th. This $12 area was your high last November. So I would just like to see it hold that. Other than that, I don't see much else on the chart. I mean, you go over to the 4 hour, this could turn into a harmonic, but it's not at any PCZs just yet. Could turn into a past the PCZ of a Garley. So eventually, the only next scenario could be like a crab. So that would be lower. So I just want to see TLRY hold 12. Next resistance will be around 15. There's not a lot of resistance from 12 to 15 historically. So if it can just hold above 12, it could run back up to 15 to test that, but it has to hold it. Otherwise, there's a cap fill all the way at 957 if it cannot hold 12. CYCC is next. Maybe a little bit of a wedge here. You're getting pretty close to this gap fill though. You have a gap fill at around 438. You're not too far from that. And also 433 is like the support from last summer and almost your resistance from last October. So like, I think this is probably the most important area, you know, for bounce. If it breaks under it, then I mean, it could drop down to 385, then eventually 324. So it's like, I would like to see it bounce within this range. And resistance, this closest resistance is like 525 from, like, you can see over here, these little highs over there. Then also this resistance from last summer. Next up is CLF. It kind of close right at the demand line of this upsloping channel. In my eyes, it's at the make or break area. Pretty textbook upsloping channel apart from this fake out you had. Maybe gets a fake out again. But if it breaks it, then I think the next support would be like 21 bucks. So yeah, it's at the make or break area. Support's 21, resistance is 27.38. Actually, let me see if that's anything important. Oh, that's actually a high all the way back from January 2006. Wow. All right, so that's CLF, and the next up Pfizer. We talked about this weeks ago, and what's been happening for the last couple of weeks. Just been skyrocketing, okay? You're watching the stream when we talked about this. The monthly cup and handle. This pattern is older than I am. This pattern started developing in the last century. This is a 20th century pattern. I mean, not technically. I guess most of it was in the 21st century, but yeah, 99 is when this thing hit the first part of the neckline, and it rounded out until 2018, and then it created the handle from 2018 to this year when it broke out. I believe, let's see the day that it broke out. It broke out on August 2nd. I think we talked about it like literally the day that it broke out of it. And since then, it's been up pretty nicely. So just something cool to look at there. That is Pfizer. Yo-Yo says making money is never boring. I like that. I don't know, I just feel like sometimes I'm never going to be like that, but I always do feel like it obviously would be easier to just be like, oh my gosh, rocket emojis to the moon, diamond hands, and just throw like Wall Street Bets pictures on my thumbnails and like put the titles in like all caps. But that's just not, honestly, that's not even the type of audience I want. I want an audience that wants to learn how to do this the right way. I mean, if there are people, you know, that, you know, are in that type of an area, I'm not hating on them or anything. I'm just saying that's a very different thing from what I do. So I know it's not, I guess, as exciting and oh my god, like everybody, have you ever seen those videos? It's like in their thumbnails are like they just make like the crazy faces and everything. Like, that's cool, I guess. Obviously easy views, but like Cheddar Freeze always says, build it and they will come. All right, so all right, SPRT is first. I have lottos on SPRT. We'll see how they go. It's really not that much at all, but I picked them up as it was kind of picking up some volume in the last hour of the day. So it's already on my watch list. I've been looking at SPRT for a while now. I shared it on Twitter a couple weeks ago. Not as like a trade idea or anything, but just it was on my watch list with like a cup and handle. And I shared it and it went up a lot since I shared it on Twitter. If anybody remembers that little watch list I put out. So yeah. Chad Free says Pfizer seems to be in a parabolic arc. Yep, 4-hour class A bearish divergence right in the 220 MA. Probably is overbought on some time frames as well. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's been running like crazy. But also, if you look at Moderna, it's been doing the same thing. It's pretty wild. MMAT, ABBV. All right, so those will be the final tickers: SPRT, ANY, TTD, MMAT, and ABBV. Those will be the last 5 for the night. I'll draw some dashes in the chat right now. KTF says, you got any lotto plays for tomorrow? I tried the lotto thing. I don't know. I don't really feel like I'm not going to say worth it, but how do I put it? It's just like, I tried it for a few weeks if you follow me on Twitter, if you're in the Discord, and the win rate was pretty all right. It's just, with lottos, even if I have a 90% win rate, I just feel too, what's the word to use? Like, there's just something about it that I don't like it too much. It's not really exactly what I want to be teaching newer people to be doing, if that makes sense. I mean, it could be a great way to make money for highly advanced traders, but even if I put out like a 90% win rate on lotto trades, for the 10% of them that just completely expire worthless, I just get a really weird feeling about them, because I don't want any, like, you know, newer traders or anything to be getting stuck and stuff like that. So I don't know if I'm going to be doing any more lottos and stuff. Maybe a couple times here and there. Obviously there was a huge Tesla one which ran like 400%, and also I think Lucid, but I don't know. I might just stick to day trades and premium and stuff, because like, honestly, it's a lot of pressure to be doing that stuff, you know, posting it in the Discord for everybody, and then also on Twitter for 8,000 people. Like, honestly, I care more about everybody else's money and this is so messed up, but I care about other people more than myself, right? So I feel a lot of pressure with it. It's like more of like a personal mental thing. So only on like the super ones that I feel like really, really, really highly confident in, maybe. But most likely the day trades will stick in premium. And that's not me trying to take away from people who are not in premium. That's just me trying to not go crazy every single Friday worrying about 1 out of 5 trades failing. So if you can understand that, hopefully you do. But I'm just being as honest as I possibly can be, because like none of the crazy runners in the lottos I didn't really like feel happy about. Like, they were cool, but again, they were lottos. It was just mainly the losers that were just kind of concerning me. So yeah, I got a couple lotto ideas I shared in the watch list channel in premium, like literally only 2, and I'll see what they look like in the pre-market. But again, it's kind of like the same thing I already do in premium, which is just day trades. They're just going to be day trades like any other day. So it's not like we haven't been doing day trades. So not too much of a change there. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Sorry if that disappointed anybody, but I'm always trying to be as honest as possible. Yeah, and Cheddarfree says it's close to gambling. New traders hard to manage risk if they don't understand. Absolutely, that's the main point. It's not for advanced traders. Like, I'm not worried about them for advanced traders. I'm just worried about it for beginner traders that follow me on Twitter or that are in the Discord. Pressure. All right, so SPRT, I do have some lottos on this for tomorrow. I picked them up in the final hour of the day. Again, it's money that I'm willing to risk, so I'm looking at it as a gamble. But if we go over to lower time frames, you can see over here, if it can just cross this like little 870 or 880 resistance, it was like these 2 candle lows, this candle high, this candle high, this candle high, pretty much your session highs today. If it can cross this level tomorrow, it could make a nice little run. I know a lot of people I've seen on Twitter are watching this. Also on the daily, I just want to see it hold above like this demand line right here. As you can see, it's been holding above it since like pretty much this whole entire month. And if we zoom out, it's pretty much like a cup and handle. And I did share this. I talked about this on stream like over here, and I tweeted it out and everything, so it's nice to see it run. But that's really it for SPRT. You just want to hold above this white demand line. ANY is next up. It filled a gap today, which is good. That actually acted as support or your low of the day. But you are now under 393, which was your previous high from the beginning of July. And it was your support for a few days over in here. So I would like to see us get back above 393 after the gap fill. If not, it gets really, really choppy in this whole entire zone between $1 and $4, like straight down, straight up, straight down, straight up, you know? So I would like to see it hold above that zone, because if it can't, then, I mean, there are a few little different highs in here that it could be finding support at. So those are just pretty much your levels on the chart. I don't see much of a pattern or any divergence just yet. The trade desk, 200-day moving average is probably the most important level. That's also around your gap fill, and it is a historical level. So $74. That's the level you want to hold on TTD. If not, it could have room all the way back down to like 67. If you can hold that level, I think you have a gap fill at $80.75, and then after that, 84 be your next resistance. Not much of any divergence. Don't see much of a pattern. If it does break these levels, it probably could turn into a cipher or a shark. So it could turn into a cipher or a shark, but it's not really at those levels for right now. MMAT. That was the important zone, this whole entire zone right over here, right? This was a failed trade from, I think, like July or something. And it broke this really important historical zone. So now I think the next level is around like 250-ish from your lows in April. But also, again, if like small caps and mid caps start reversing, regardless of a lot of these technicals, I think that the whole entire sectors have been crushed so much that if we just get the overall reversals, a lot of stocks who might not even look technically great can just kind of run with the sectors as well. Because on the flip side, there have been a good amount of stocks that have good technicals, but they've just been dropping because of the sectors. So just right now, everything's kind of trading within their own sectors. And then final tick of the night, ABBV. You have hidden bullish divergence confirmed on the daily MACD and on the RSI, which is good. Next resistance is 122, roughly around 121, 122. Sorry for that. And I don't really know about a pattern though. I mean, maybe a little bit of just like an upsloping channel / wedge. It's really, yeah, I just want to see it hold above 110. That was your low from like over here and your resistance over here, and then you back tested it. So yeah, it used to be in this range, we broke above it, and now it's within a new range. And that's ABBV. All right. Santa says yellows are fine, just keep your bag small, adrenaline kick will be the same. Yeah, I can't trust that everybody's gonna keep their bag small. I just can't trust it. Neutron Flux Lab says, listen, the fact is lottos are priced in with IV due to expiration. They just move a ton. It's even worse than holding options on earnings. Never do this. Literally called lottos for a reason. So yeah. Bala says, imagine we get lockdowns and COVID 2.0, Pfizer goes for a run. How did Pfizer do during the COVID crash? So from January high to March low, it dropped about 30%. And then from the March lows, it's up about 87%. Really, really slow moving stock, even though it looks like it's going crazy. I mean, it just went from 43 to 51, but that's Pfizer for you. And that is priced into probably a low IV on options, but that probably raised within the last couple of weeks as well. So futures settling down a little bit. They were up, they were down, now they're still around just flat. We'll see what happens in the morning. So final day of the week tomorrow. If you're not on the Discord, the link's in the description. Thank you for watching the stream. Hit that subscribe button. For those of you that'll be in the workshop, I'll see you on Saturday. If not, I'll be live on Sunday night as well. So have a great weekend. I have a really busy weekend and school starts. Well, last week is going to be the last week I'll be streaming without college. So I'll try and maybe stream a little bit longer on all the streams next week, but I don't know. Maybe I'll try and relax. I don't know. So we'll figure everything out together. And yeah, have a great weekend. Good luck trading tomorrow. Thank you for watching the stream. Peace out.